What's up, y'all? Welcome again to another episode of the Festy Hub Podcast. So for this episode, we have Noah Levinson joining us for 1 hour conversation about High Ground Festival, High Ground Music and Arts Experience. It was here in Denver. It was his first ever big festival. He's done a couple of shows in the past, but he's never done something to this extent. He's apparently been doing this or been planning for this for a few years now. So we talk a little bit about who he is as a person, and then we kind of dive into everything that had to do with High Ground Festival. It's a great conversation. Noah's definitely a really awesome character to get to know. I'm really glad we did this. Aside from Noah Levinson joining us, we are gonna give out our 4 shout outs. So for starters, we have our content creator as our number 1, which is going to be, and I'm sorry if I butcher your last name, bro, but Devin Larscheid or Larscheid. Everything will be underneath in the description. So even if I butcher your name, just look at the tag below. So Devin is an awesome content creator from ranging between like Reels and TikToks and YouTube. He is more of like a skit type of content creator, so a lot of like funny it's almost like the ones that I do, but he does a lot more of them. It's like rave girls be like, rave bros be like. He also does some like non EDM ones as well. Those are all located on his YouTube channel for sure. Like he has an entire playlist of every type of like style videos that he does for those skits, but he's mostly like a skits type of content creator. Let's see. Number 2, we got our DJ or producer. So this one's Reed. Reed, I actually met in Orlando during one of the drive-in raves. He goes by Rude Reed on Instagram. That's his DJ name. He's played a couple of shows in the Orlando, Florida area, at least. I don't know if he's played anywhere farther than that, but I know that he plays a lot, mostly in Orlando. I'm going to be moving to Orlando. I can't wait to hang out with you, bro. I definitely recommend this guy. He has a link to his newest mix on his bio. So if you go to his profile, definitely give that a listen. Number 3 is going to be for a business or brand, and I'm giving this one out to EDM Maniac. EDM Maniac is basically like our news source for a lot of like EDM related things, EDM related topics. Basically has all the articles you want to know about anything EDM related. That's where I get a lot of my news from, like Insomniac or something's going on with a certain DJ or something's going on with a certain festival. They're usually the ones that kind of inform me. So I'll go to their page on a daily basis, and they will usually upload more than once a day, honestly, on all platforms. So they also have a TikTok as well. I forget his name. God dang it. I wish I remembered better, but they have like actual videos that they clip and then they make into TikToks. And those are really like informative, kind of like stormed information all at once. And they just kind of fill you in with everything going on in the week. I recommend checking them out. Definitely a great source for EDM news. And then the last one is going to go to supportive friend or supportive follower. This one's going to go to my boy, Nick Valentine. I actually met Nick in 2018 at EDC Las Vegas. And we're in a group chat together because I wanted to make sure that we link up again at EDC Las Vegas 2021. He sent me a picture the other day of like one of the first candies, not the first candies that I made, but definitely one of like the candies that I made for EDC Las Vegas. I had like my real name on it. And when he sent me that, I was like, oh gosh, that's like so not like me to put my real name on things. But it was funny. I definitely remember making that because I was making candy at the hotel room, just fast as hell. Now I have Kandi Bar. So I don't know if you guys checked out some of my last videos, but I did give him a little shout out and stuff. Kandi Bar is also on my personal bio link. There's a whole section for like Kandi Bar if you want to click and check them out. So they kind of provide you with candy nowadays, so you don't end up like me rushing in the middle of a car ride trying to make candy so you have something to trade. But my boy Nick, can't wait to see you at EDC Las Vegas, my dude. Okay, so that was our 4 shout outs. Quick little intro of who Noah is, what we got going on for the episode. let's talk a little bit about what's going on today and this weekend, though, because I am going to be uploading this. I don't know if I'm going to upload it on Thursday. So if you're listening, it's probably Thursday, or if I'm doing this on my regular upload day, which is Friday. I know everyone's going to be at EDC Las Vegas, so I might be doing this episode a day early. Not that you guys are going to be shocked or probably care, but I wanted to give people something to listen to on their flight to EDC, because I know a lot of us are camping. So I might be doing that. But yeah, I have EDC Las Vegas coming up this weekend. I am leaving Thursday to go to the festival, meeting up with all my friends. We all coordinated like magicians. We all coordinated to arrive at Las Vegas at around like 12 o'clock, all of us. So my buddy who's driving from Albuquerque is going to pick us up. And then we're going to wait for our bags. We're going to see if we need any last items. We shouldn't, because we gave my boy a list of things to pick up beforehand. So he's got all the alcohol stuff, all the food stuff, and it's going to be already set to go. We're splitting it 4 ways. Then we're heading to the campsite to, hopefully the line's not too long. I know like a lot of the times when you're doing camping, they like the cart check of that security aspect takes a while. I can understand that. But I'm hoping that over the years, hopefully it's gotten better to the point where I get there and it's just smooth sailing, because, I had this thing about waiting on lines. So hopefully my anxiety doesn't kick in as long as I have friends around me, which I do, but I get claustrophobic with all our bags, because I don't know if you guys saw my stories. I have a huge duffel bag with a queen air mattress. I have like a queen size blanket, a huge cloak coat. I have like 6 pairs of like clothes. I have another bag full of electronics and stuff like that. I have so much stuff. So I'm probably guilty for us not having much room in the car, but that is what it is. When you're camping, you need to pack for a lot more stuff than you normally would at any festival. And then when we get to the festival, we're going to start festivities. I will be co-hosting a meetup with Radiate and Heart Raves. I will be in that meetup, and then I will do my best to attend the Pella Ravers meetup on Saturday, which is conjoined with the Lunchbox meetup at the same time on Saturday. There is going to be another meetup for Rolly Took a Tour. I love my females in the scene, so I'm going to go support them, go to their meetup. I know Emma Capotis is doing a Rave Culture Cast meetup on Friday, I think. So I definitely want to attend that. And then I think we might be doing like a camp meetup for Thursday. I don't know yet, but there's a lot of meetups. If you guys are interested in any of those, I should be making a post by the time this comes out. So go to my personal profile. I should have an actual post on there if you want to just screenshot it and figure out where you can bump into me. Come say hi, trade some candy, give me a hug, get in the vlog. Maybe we can make a little TikTok. I don't know, something cool. But that will be everything that we got going on for EDC Las Vegas. I am hoping to have the next podcast episode be with me and Emma Capotis. I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm going to ask her, see if she's too tired or not. Hopefully she's not. I know that we agreed earlier that we were going to do it after EDC happened, but before like that Friday, hopefully, because I'm trying to like get it uploaded as soon as possible. But I know how things go when you attend like a 4-day festival, you're tired. So I do have like backup podcasts in case like that falls through. But I'm hoping to give you guys like an after review podcast episode with me and Emma Capotis. I haven't had Emma on the podcast yet, and I definitely I admire her so much, so I definitely want to have her on the podcast as soon as I can. But I've been so overwhelmed with me moving to Orlando that I haven't really had time to like organize like a good subject and stuff like that. So I definitely wanted to do EDC Las Vegas, because that's kind of where she got started. I'm like, oh, what a great episode to like, collaborate with. So that's what we got going on, guys. But with everything being said, let's go ahead and get this podcast started. Well, my fellow revelers, I would like to welcome Noah Levinson to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. This was really cool.
Yeah, Noah. So a lot of people here don't really know you. Some of us just kind of know you from the guy who like ran like High Grounds. To get a better idea of who you are as a person, if you wouldn't mind like a quick intro.
Sure. So, hello. My name is Levinson. I'm 24 years old and I live in Denver, Colorado. I run a company called Levitate Events, and we do concerts and festivals all around the US that kind of focus on chill, vibey electronic music, mostly live performed. And then outside of that, I talent buy with a company called Versa. We work on behalf of venues and festivals all around the world, bringing them some of their favorite artists. And it's been really, really special.
Versa, is that like just local, or is that like all US? You hear me? I was asking, is Versa just like local, or is it like all US?
Sorry about that. It's actually all US, and then also in other parts of the world as well. So we have a few properties in Florida and New York and California, some other places. We have Groove Cruise Orlando, or sorry, Groove Cruise Miami, and also one on the West Coast. We run Vision and Color Festival out in Wuhan, China, and it's pretty global business.
So is that like your part-time job, like what you do? Like I said, from like.
Yeah, so I guess like I split my work between a few things. One is definitely Levitate, and right now our focus is High Ground. And then with Versa, that takes up a lot of my work time. And it's really fun. I work with all of our properties. And then I also am actually a freelance graphic designer and animator, and work with record labels and artists and things of the sort, where I'm kind of making motion content based on their still image graphics so that they have really cool things to share on, whether it's like Canvas on Spotify, or a YouTube video, or just like a motion flyer and things like that.
That's pretty badass, man. You have like, can you name like a couple artists? Or like, is there just like local artists, or are there any like big name artists? Or
So my Instagram for animations is called Fippy Trings, like trippy things but flipped. And some of my favorite artists that I've animated for, oh my gosh, Closey was really cool.
Oh shit.
I did things for Rolling Loud Festival with Migos and Travis Scott. And then I just did the motion flyer for, I think, Liquid Stranger.
Holy shit, bro. Man, you're the real fucking deal, bro.
It's been pretty cool. I actually just released a few NFTs, which has been really, really cool. Hoping to make a few more, and it's been like a whole different kind of animation that I haven't really got to dive into before.
Have you sold any NFTs yet?
So one of them I made with my good friend Chelsea Kemp. She is a local artist, goes by I think Kemp Creations. Mm-hmm. And so we collabed on an NFT. It hasn't sold yet, but then the other two that I've made, I don't think I can announce who I made them with, but I'm not the one selling them, and I think they'll probably move pretty quickly if they haven't already.
Yeah. Are you getting like any profit off that?
It depends on like the deal structure. I'm a person to work with, so on the front end, sometimes on the back, sometimes it's somewhere in between.
Fucking badass, man. Shit, I feel like we there's so many topics going off at once. So let's talk about you. I was going through your Instagram, just kind of get a little, just be a little creeper per usual. I saw you have a dog. What's your dog's name?
Oh yeah, I got a dog. His name's Malachi. He's sitting in the other room, and he's a 2-year-old husky that I found on Craigslist when I first moved to Colorado. And he's the weirdest dog in the world. My family's huskies my whole life, and so when I moved here, it's like, gotta get a husky.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better dog. He is the sweetest pup ever. And then he just like has all these weird personalities that I keep finding out. Like I went camping, not this past summer, but the summer before. And
where at?
I think we were just down near like Colorado Springs, the mountains up over there.
Okay.
And yeah, I brought my climbing shoes and just like kind of scrambled up this thing. And then I looked behind me, and Malachi was climbing up the same rock. And I witnessed him like figure out how to like wedge his paws into different cracks so that he could climb
in order to climb.
This dog was a climber in a past life. But he's awesome, and yeah, great dog.
Is that one of your like hobbies, hiking or camping, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of the person who likes to try everything twice, and if I like it, then I'll keep doing it. And there are a few things that I don't like to do. So in the summers, I'm like always hiking or camping or climbing and things like that. And in the winter, I'm always snowboarding.
So I love snowboarding.
Oh yeah, I think I'm about to on pass.
Yeah,
but
I went. I think I went like a good 12 times this last year, and then I only like 8 times the year before that. But it's been. I'm leaving. I'm gonna go to Florida soon, so I'm taking in all the snowboarding I can get in right now. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm hoping that I can get sponsored this winter. It's kind of like my little goal. We'll see.
Oh shit, that'd be pretty badass. Have you been to that? Have you been whitewater rafting by any chance?
Oh my gosh, it's been years, but I have been meaning to do like a summer trip. I know like there's a bunch of guided trips out here in Colorado.
Yeah, the Royal Gorge does it, I believe.
Yeah, and it looks like so much fun. I haven't found the time. But I've gone a few times with my family a few years ago, and then before that, of course. And, I'd like to get back into it. Do you?
Yeah, I've only been once, and it was just an amazing experience. I'm big on like outdoor activities.
Mm-hmm.
I'll hike and camp. Hiking is I love hiking, but when it comes to camping, I'm very like, it depends where I'm hiking or where I'm camping. I mean, because I don't like camping where it's just gonna be hot. It's like a desert. I used to do a lot of lake camping, and it just, I don't know. It's not always the vibe. You need a little bit of shade and.
Yeah, for sure.
It just depends.
Yeah, I found like some really beautiful spots out here, and I agree. I'm not the kind of person who wants to like go camp and just like sit around the campsite all day. I definitely need an activity. So some of my favorite places that I've been out here, one is Radium Hot Springs. I don't know if you've made your way out there, but wow, I found this spot with my friends summer 2020, and it was just stunning and beautiful. And there's this really cool hike that's along a cliff, and you just like hike along this cliff above a river for miles. And at the end, there's like this 40-foot cliff jump and some hot springs. And so it alone is like such an experience. And I went back this past summer with a different group of friends, and it was just it's always been really magical. And then I like going to Veda Woo up in Wyoming to like scramble up some rocks and things like that.
I've never been to Wyoming. We're so close to it, and I've just never had the time. I guess same thing. I've never had the time to just drive up to Wyoming. I'm always with my line of like activities and my side hustles and stuff like that. I'm always at festivals. I'm either working for a festival, promoting for a festival, or I'm looking up for like the next place to vlog. And I like to vlog like new festivals I haven't been to, gets more views, gets more this, whatever. But I don't know. Have you always lived in Denver like your entire life, or have you like moved anywhere for a couple of years? And
yeah, so I'm from San Diego originally, and by the way,
oh, Cali, me too.
Hey, nice. Okay, wait, all right.
I'm from San Luis Obispo.
Okay, nice. The good old slow.
Yep. If you know slow, you know slow.
Yeah, from San Diego, born and raised. And then I moved to New York for university. I went to NYU, and I was in the Clive Davis Institute at in Tisch School of the Arts. And I focused, and my studies were like completely focused on music industry and concert production and promotion. And so I guess it's only fitting that that's what I'm doing now. But
dude, you're lucky, man, because when I was 18, 19 and figuring out what I wanted to do for a living, I was so into video games. And now like I there was a realization that I didn't want video games to be my life like anymore. And I feel like if I had your realization of like, I want music to be like my passion, and then maybe I would have stuck with it. Like, you don't know what you don't know. And right. I wasted so many years, but like now I'm getting into it, and I'm going to go to Florida. I'm going to take some classes on event production, event management, event coordination.
Oh yeah. That's awesome.
Right now I am where I'm at. But I want to increase not just like my audience and stuff like that, but I want to increase like my knowledge on the industry. I got a pretty good grasp on how have a following and be this icon and have a personality for it and vlog, but like I don't really know too much about what it takes to like actually coordinate like even small events. I don't even know what that takes.
Sure.
Baby steps.
That's what it's all about. Yeah, I mean, my first shows were all on this wall, and the very first
holy shit.
Yeah, it was so I guess like long story short, I started DJing in middle school. I got like really into that and started like doing small parties, bar mitzvahs, weddings, and just kind of like grew from there. And along that process, people started asking me like, hey, can you help me plan this event? And I just like kind of fell in love with that creative and logistic process. And so I started putting on my own shows, and it was literally like a small Halloween event.
Yeah.
And my junior year of high school, I was like, you know
what? You're talking about high school here. That's fucking crazy.
It's been a long ass time in the making. It's like crazy to see this like progression right here. But
that's badass.
But yeah, like junior year, I was like, I need to produce something bigger. And I hadn't really been to a festival yet at that point. I'd known that I wanted to create something special and kind of grandiose. And they kind of culminated into this event. It's like the top one up here, called Hollow. And the whole idea was that it would be like this single day electronic club sort of thing, but exclusive to high school students around San Diego, because we were all starting to listen to it and there weren't any spaces where we could go and actually like enjoy that kind of music. And so this was going to be a safe space exclusive to younger people, where like there weren't the pressures of the parent chaperone who would be like, no dancing together or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that was really cool. And like moments before the doors opened, my grandpa called me. He's like, hey, nothing else matters tonight other than the fact that you put this together and you saw all these pieces come together into what's about to happen, and you need to stop for a moment and be proud of that, because it's amazing.
100%.
That, I think that was like a huge turning point for me, because I realized, wait a second, like I could do this. If I wanted to do this, I could do this. I started to see it as like this big puzzle that you put together over months or years. High Ground's case.
Yeah, exactly.
And the event was really cool, successful in a lot of ways, unsuccessful in a lot of others, but overall I learned so much. And then the next year, like this 200 person event became 400, and then 600, and then I put on like a 3,000 person event, and overall it's just been like this kind of growing trend, and I've gotten to work with some of my favorite artists. And it's all been a learning process, especially with High Ground. Like, wow. We can unpack that later. But
yeah, we'll definitely get to that. It's gonna be I'm actually like I'm super surprised, man, because you're just fucking amazing. While I was at home playing video games, you were here fucking making events happen at the same age. I'm like, that's awesome, man. I'm like, that's freaking amazing. Did any of you, like your friends from like high school in those days, are they working with you now, or none of them, like different paths, or what's going on with that?
Yeah, I mean, all my friends from high school, or I guess a few friends from high school, they are all super supportive. In fact, all of them were at High Ground this past weekend, but
oh shit,
they're all doing vastly different things. One of them is kind of like in the med school track. The other is like we all graduated college. The other one is he is working with a dispensary in San Diego that's nonprofit and super cool. And yeah, I mean, everyone super different things, but we're all so supportive of each other. And they know that this has been my dream for forever. Because I was working on High Ground for like 5 years, and even before that, I was like, I'm going to put on shows for my life. And yeah, I mean, one of my closest and one of my longest time friends, Braden, who's there this past weekend, his like first music memory with me was when we were like 8 or 9 years old, and I'd received a Microcube guitar amp for my birthday. We were like each, I had my iPod plugged into it, and it had like all these different effects, flangers, delays, etc. And I was just kind of fucking around with those knobs, making weird effects on my music, like as it was leading up to the drop or the chorus. And Braden looked at me, he's like, you're gonna do this for people someday.
That's pretty badass, because it's funny. I love that you had supportive friends, man, because when I decided I was gonna like pursue like the EDM space and that stuff, yeah, my friends like abandoned me. They're like, you're retarded or whatever. Like
That sucks.
there was a lot of negativity, because we were in that whole emo like pop rock phase and stuff, and like that was like our music for our group. And when I decided I just wanted to listen to different music, it was like one of those things where like it was like wasn't accepted. Like maybe when, because I'm 30, it wasn't like more, I guess it was less accepted back then. Yeah.
Oh my God, you look like you're 23. Way to go. That's great.
I eat a lot of avocados. No, makes sense. It's yeah, so like I had those friends, they just didn't believe in me that I was gonna do anything with getting to the EDM scene. And honestly, they were probably right at the beginning. I didn't want to do anything at the beginning with it. But then one day I woke up out of bed, dude, and I said, you know what, like I do so much. I have a great personality. I want to monetize myself like as a brand. And I want to just switch over from, I quit my my job. Like I used to work for Activision. I no longer wanted to do that. Yeah. And I no longer wanted to do that. And I wanted to, I got rid of my YouTube channel from gaming. I was streaming, all that stuff, got rid of it all. And I scratched it and I said, I want to start from scratch and I want to be an icon for this EDM space. And then, next thing I know is like, I'm literally monetized. My whole personality is monetized.
That's incredible.
But when I decided that, I had more friends that were like, you won't do it, you won't get anywhere, that's ridiculous, no one's ever gonna like give you free tickets, no one's ever gonna pay you to be at a festival, no one. And I'm like the doubt, man. And I'm like, I'm jealous of your relationship with your friends, because like I didn't have that, man.
Yeah, that's super rough. But I also faced a lot of that kind of criticism from other people. Like my core group, I am super lucky and blessed that like my 3-4 close friends from high school like have always supported this. And I'm also extraordinarily lucky that my parents have played such a huge role in this for me. But overwhelmingly in high school, I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna produce a show, and people would be like, yeah, shut up. And but like I had enough support around me to know that it was something that I could go for. In fact, wow, it's kind of crazy. My high school principal, Mr. Mueller, Carl.
How do you remember the name?
He was extraordinarily like just wow, so supportive. And there were a lot of days where my friends were like off doing their own things during lunch, and I didn't really have any friends outside of my group, and so I would often go and have lunch with Mr. Mueller, and I would tell him about my ideas and what I wanted to do. And he said, like, you absolutely should. And, you have a support system, whatever you need, you got it. In fact, my sophomore year of high school, like there's this huge conference for music industry professionals called the San Diego Music Thing. And it was a 21 and up kind of conference. I don't know why, but it was. And I got special permission first from the programming of the San Diego Music Thing to go to this event as a 16-year-old. And then I asked Mr. Mueller, and he allowed me to skip school for an entire week so that I could go participate in this conference. And I guess like long story, or like full circle, I met one of the program leads there. His name's Storm Glure. He is a professor here at CU Denver. And when I first moved to Denver, he connected me with the owner of Levitt Pavilion. And that's where we just threw this big, amazing thing. And so very full circle.
Wow, that is like a weird domino effect. It's like
weird. And like, I guess long story short, yesterday, like literally yesterday, I texted Mr. Mueller photos from High Ground. He said, wow, that is really special.
That's crazy. Yeah, man. I mean, damn, could you imagine like your high school student just one day texting you like that thing I told you, like 8 years ago, boom, it's happening.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
That's so badass, man. What other experiences have you had? Like, working in this industry, man? I know you said you've worked with shit. Well, it wasn't Shipwreck, it was the other one, right?
Sorry, just gonna spill some juice.
You're good, buddy.
We're in. Sick.
What other events have you worked for? Or I guess better, yeah, I guess you named a lot. But what have you done for these like events for the most part when you do work for these events, or did, I guess, work for these events? Because I know I've seen some pictures of you working like certain, like, I think festivals, and it's like, what do you do there per se? Like,
sure. Yeah. So all of the shows on this wall right here are things that I've kind of run from front to back, and literally up until High Ground, I was kind of like doing all aspects of it. So the marketing was horrible because I was running I'm really good. I think I'm really great with branding and like knowing what the voice of an event space can be.
Yeah.
But I'm not great at putting it out into the world. And so it's been really special, especially with High Ground, to have a team that supports me. Anyway, I digress. All of these I've done on my own, essentially. But outside of those, I used to work for Insomniac Events. I was their concerts and festivals associate in 2017.
Okay.
So I learned so much while working with them. And I was able to kind of like refine that toolkit so that I could take it and continue producing my own shows with like so much more knowledge. And that's where I think the caliber of my events really started picking up. But yeah, it's mostly been things with Insomniac and then things on my own.
All right, man. Did you have any like crazy or funny stories during any of these events?
Ooh, yeah.
I know that's probably a lot to choose from.
I'm sure.
No stories from High Ground though, just stories from because when we get to High Ground, we'll talk about those stories.
Yeah. Gosh, funny stories. Yeah, I mean, one thing that was pretty funny from like a production standpoint, I suppose, was we did a show with Sober Rob, and he's super cool, kind of like electronic, but also plays violin, and
yeah,
he done an amazing set. But anyway, I had this idea to use these giant water containers called IBC totes to create these lamps on stage, essentially. And these things are like 4 feet wide cubes. And I'd like picked them up in a U-Haul, but I also didn't, and this was when I was living in New York, and I didn't have a storage facility, and I also didn't have the funding to rent another U-Haul to bring them to the venue. And so the day of the show, me and my friends like just picked up these massive things. We're like hauling them down the streets of Brooklyn.
What the fuck?
It probably looked ridiculous. We're like tumbling them down, like just so janky and awkward. It was horrible.
That's pretty funny though. How'd you like living in New York anyways? How was that experience?
Here's what I'll say. Don't live in New York. No.
But you know what they say though? It's like the people who live in New York, they have like okay, I can't say, okay, what can I say to not make people angry? People who live in New York, like they think their shit don't smell, because they live in New York.
Yeah. They got a certain kind of energy for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I am really happy that I went to New York, because without that, I wouldn't have met the team at Insomniac, and I wouldn't have like kind of taken the trajectory that I've been like really fortunate to go down.
Everything happens for a reason, my dude.
Exactly. But I will never move back to New York, and I'll leave it at that.
I went there once. One of my friends was throwing a small rave or whatever, and she wanted my help. So I flew down and I did the ticketing booth for her. That's literally my extent of like my travel in New York. And I wasn't pleased. So I know a lot of people. So I invited some friends from around New York. They came through, and I was like, all right, we're done with this rave. Let's like the party's not over till it's fucking over. Right here in New York has different things going on. So they take me to some like underground place where it doesn't end until like 10 a.m. And I mean, the sun was up before I was down. So
yeah, they go late there for sure.
Yeah.
In Denver, there's totally nights where I'm like, why isn't the bodega open?
Do you ever Have you ever, or do you ever go to like the underground raves like in Denver?
I haven't really, and I wouldn't call this underground, but I went to the Sugar Cube once, and that was cool.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess like it was really challenging because I moved here in the summer of 2019. It took me about, I don't know, 6 months to get my footing. And then COVID happened. And so
man.
really get to, I was staying home, staying safe. And yeah.
Did you make a TikTok account? Did you make TikToks?
No, yeah, I avoided it. Just kidding. No shame to
See,
TikTok.
This is why you're so bad with marketing. You don't even have the platforms.
Exactly. I find other people to do it.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, I mean, I know there's like this whole underground scene out here, and I'd love to kind of dive deeper and explore it a little more.
What is like your genre of choice though? When you're looking for like an underground rave, what are you looking for? Like what music?
Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm becoming an old man. I used to love dubstep and everything around it, and like find me at EDC 2016, just like exclusively a bass pod.
Really, bro? 2015 EDC Las Vegas, I was just like mainstays the entire time. I mean, Circuit Grounds was my spot. I mean, I got to see Morgan Page, Avicii. I mean, that was like my RIP, but like that was my shit, man. I dove into dubstep like later.
So EDC 2015 was my first EDC, and I spent like the whole time at the main stage. And then I just like wandered into the bass pod like the last day of 2015, and I was like, oh my god, this is it.
You saw Excision then.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I like was super in love with bass, and then for a little while I was like super into house, and then I think this is probably a lot to do with my parents, but they're like huge Deadheads and jam band people, and throughout my entire life they're like really pushing that sonic style on me, and I fell in love with it. I'm also a huge Deadhead. I have a Grateful Dead bear tattooed on my thigh, like very into the whole scene. But the cool thing, and I think this is probably where like things are a little different for the type of music that I promote and the types of shows that I like to go to, is like this fusion between the electronic side of things and the jammy, like funky side of things. So everyone that played on High Ground is like, I think the epitome of that, like chill vibe, mostly live performed, very jammy and funky as well for a lot of the sets. And that's like, I couldn't have asked for a different kind of sound, is like this chill thing. And that's like literally this whole wall of artists, basically starting in, what is that, 2017, 2016 or something.
Yeah.
And started like really like floating in that direction. So like on this wall, I've done things with Icarus Moth, Soup Andreas, Sober Rob again, and then Moods, Falcon Punch, who's out of Denver, Mielo, who has some really cool tracks. I did a show with Marvel Ears, Air Atlantica, Snarky Puppy, Evie, Evanoff, Late Night Radio, Daily Bread, and a bunch of others.
My it's funny because when I invited my friends, right, they're like I don't know anyone on this lineup. I'm like, give it a chance, right? Just give it a chance. I'm like, we're not gonna be out headbanging. It's gonna be like a little picnic, some dope ass music, almost like a concert at the park type deal,
Chill vibe.
Yeah, and they were super open-minded about it, and they left that place going, that was bad fucking ass. I'm like, there you go, man. I don't always be open-minded. You never know what you're gonna like.
Yeah, for sure. And that's like the whole thing, right? Keep an open mind, keep an open ear, and go see some fucking music. I'm all about going to see live music. In 2019, I went to 96 shows, and I just want to keep going and seeing as much music as I possibly can, until my legs break.
It's funny because when I go to festivals, and I tell my group like, oh, I'm gonna go see this like artist that I haven't like heard live yet or even heard before sometimes, and they're like, yeah, but like so and so is playing. I'm like even like Cascade and people like that, right? I'm like, yeah, but like I've like met these artists, I've seen them live like a good 5 times during COVID. Like if that says anything, And I'm like, I just want to go see newer artists that don't have I know have the potential to like impress me, and I want to be there for it,
For sure.
I saw Crystal Skies for the first time. I've never heard of Crystal Skies at all, ever. No music, never even heard of their name. And my buddy's like, I'm here at Crystal Skies. Do you want to come through? I forget what DJ I decided to skip on that. Bro, one of the best sets.
I'm all about the live electronic thing. And like, I think it's so much more interesting. I mean, not to knock anybody, but like, I would much rather watch somebody like get honest on stage and vulnerable behind a guitar or a microphone or something than watch people press play on a CDJ.
Correct.
And I'm kind of at this point now, like I've seen so many artists multiple times, and I would rather like go support artists that I haven't seen before, like across the board, whether it's a small artist or just like a massive artist that's someone really cool that I haven't seen. And so that's what I'm all about.
One of my I think it was like my third live show that wasn't like a festival. I think was like Empire of the Sun, and your fest gave me Empire of the Sun vibes.
Awesome. Yeah, super highly appreciated. I love Empire of the Sun.
Yeah, too.
Sick.
Okay, so we're at like 40 minutes already, so let's get started with some high ground topics.
Sounds good.
All right, so for high grounds, why the name?
Many reasons. Let's start with Mile High City, of course. Second, I guess if you break down high ground to like the very core idea, it started as this high super stone conversation over a joint. Like, why isn't there a festival that's like chill electronic? Like let's get a little chill, and that's kind of where this all started from. And when I started working on this in like 2016, and by 2017 I had the name down. I actually we made the logo in 2017, which is so crazy to think about. But yeah, it's all about like the double entendre with the Mile High City and getting high and like the whole stoner culture. And I just want to it might be worth mentioning, like we are totally about the cannabis culture, but it's still like illegal to sell or distribute or ingest cannabis like in public spaces. And so like we just like we're hopeful that people would be mindful of that at high ground,
which is true. But have you ever been to like 420 fest and like those like weed fest during 420? Like I went to this, I think it was like the Civic Center, not the Civic Center, but like the park next to the Civic Center or next to City Hall, and there was like people like rolling joints in front of cops, and cops were just like, hey, it's 420. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like we live in Colorado, we lived in California, arguably two of the chillest places in terms of cannabis. So like, is it illegal? Yeah. Do people care? Probably not. And at the end of the day, people are gonna smoke their weed. Like people are gonna smoke their fucking weed.
Oh yeah.
so like it's up to us to create a space that's like safe for people to be in and create the reality that we're in. But we're super receptive to the fact that people are gonna smoke their weed.
Yeah, man. I mean, so are you like a strictly just smoker, or do you drink too, or?
I dabble around here and there.
I just know so many people who are like, they smoke, but they don't drink, and it's like, oh, I just, what's usually like one or the other.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the kind of guy that's like a little bit of everything here and there. Okay. But yeah, I mean, this whole past month I was stone cold sober, working from
just focusing.
What's that?
Just focusing on like your fest.
Yeah, and I was working from like 7 a.m. until 2 a.m. every day for the past month, and it's so nice to breathe again.
Dude, but, I bet, man.
I wouldn't have been able to do that if I was drinking or smoking or anything really. So I'm grateful that I have the ability to like take a step back when needed, and then also recognize when there's time for fun and celebration.
That's really hard to do, honestly, though. And it took me a while to learn that, because I used to, when I make content for like whatever channel, whatever platform, or whatever company, because I also like do story takeovers, or like I'm doing like event projects for like certain companies. I used to do that shit like blacked out drunk, and then I realized like that is not good. My videos suck. Like I had no content. I lost like my camera. I lost my GoPro. Like I'm a mess.
Yep.
Yeah, at some points you just gotta realize that like priorities as an adult are gonna come first right now. You could just drink later, and you could always have fun later.
There's always you can always do the thing later. And I mean that I can totally get creative while I'm stoned as fuck. But also there are times when I need to be creative but also keep my clarity. And I like being able to bounce around between those.
I love that you recognize that, because there's a lot of people, man, that it's like they won't give it up, and they'd be like, well, I just work better when I'm stoned. You know, I'm like, is it true though? Like how effective is that?
Yeah. like especially with animations, like it's super fun to just get high and kick back in this chair and play around with After Effects. But I get my animations done like in 1/10 of the time if I keep my wits about me.
Exactly. I mean, you're more creative when you're stoned, but how fast and effective are you at it, you know?
Totally. And so I guess that's like been the battle of high ground, right? When appropriate to be high, and when do I have to be grounded?
You're a good man. A question about the name though. Were you ever concerned that there was another festival called Higher Grounds?
So are you talking about Diplo's festival?
I'm not really sure whose festival it is. All I know is this. We were gonna go to an after party, and my friend won tickets to the show for the after party. And she was like, oh, Dom Dolla's playing at the after party. It's the official High Ground after party. And I'm like, oh, bet, let's fucking go, right? Like I literally skipped every plan. We're gonna go see Dom Dolla, and we head there, and it's almost at the end of the show, and I'm like, when's Dom Dolla coming on? I'm like, bring up the flyer, Higher Grounds after party. I'm like, bro, what the fuck are we doing here?
That's crazy. So I think there used to be a venue, and maybe even a festival in Denver called Higher Ground, but.
No, this one was in Washington. She didn't even read the location.
All right, that makes more sense then. Okay, so Higher Ground is like a festival, kind of like, or I guess like a touring festival sort of thing that's part of Diplo's label.
Okay.
And the funny thing is, when we created the name High Ground for our festival, it didn't exist. And I think our branding and the aesthetic that we bring to the table is just so vastly different. And so for us, like it's okay that that's also something that exists. We're something exclusive to Colorado, at least for now. And
before you grow and you're like doing 3 different states.
We'll see. I think someday we'd like to do a Road to High Ground series. That's like a concert series that brings a few of the artists that we'll have at the festival, or maybe some of last year's festival, or whatever it is.
Yeah, Endless Summer Nights. I don't know if you know Endless Summer Nights, but they did drive-ins in Florida. And once the drive-ins were over, they did exactly what you're talking about. It was like kind of like a road to, and they went to like different places, and they brought a bunch of the artists that were playing at these places. So
nice, super cool.
So like, why the location like Denver? Is just because like yeah, why here out of a place where you can add high ground?
So yeah, I mean, rewind to that first stone conversation. It kind of catapulted me into like, okay, like I can make this happen. I want to make this happen, and I'm going to make this happen. And so I started by drafting this list of like 200 artists that ranged everywhere from like the Louis the Childs of the world to like the Khalids of the world, and then also everything on the Tame Impala side of things. And I think someday, like, I definitely like to bring those kinds of elements where it's still super chill, but like some more elements of hip hop and some more elements of psychedelic rock. And we started into that a little bit this year with like Kid Astronaut and Wax Cat and some of the other artists. But I think it's something that as we grow and expand, we could explore a little more. Anyway, with that list of artists, Spotify has this really cool feature where you can see like what people are listening to in different cities and on different college campuses and things like that. And it just and I was like thinking already, like, this has to be somewhere that's chill and vibey, that's kind of like into the cannabis culture. So my ideas were California, Nevada, Colorado, and Oregon.
Oregon would be a good one. Yeah.
Oregon would be sick. It happened that like in those Spotify listening cities, Denver and Boulder and some of the other cities out here, listen to almost like exactly what that list of dream artists were for me. I was like, all right, I'm gonna do a festival in Colorado.
Yeah. So I was asked to promote your event. And when I promoted it, the amount of DMs I got were like, how am I just hearing about this? Like, these artists, like the lineup, holy, like, so, I mean, you're right. Like, obviously analytics don't lie, because when I promoted it, the amount of DMs I got from like people were like how is this like barely existing, and I'm like not fighting about it, like, and I'm just like
struggles.
Two things I realized from that: you're bad at marketing, and the lineup was really good, and that's the more people talked about the lineup, I'm like, okay, like, I don't know some of those artists, but if you say they're really good, like, I like bet, and they really were. Like, they were talking about like Haywire being good, and I honestly, Haywire was one of my top sets. I was like,
so cool. Wow, what a special set, right?
Oh my god, it's so good. I was very surprised, and I was very
he's so good.
Yeah. So why those artists in particular did you choose, like them in general? Is it just like, did you have like a set mind of like who you wanted to play, and those were the artists?
Yeah, I mean, all of those artists are people that have been on this dream list for years and years and years. Which it's really cool to be able to say we were able to pull from that. Casbo has been someone that I've dreamt of for headlining this thing 4 or 5 years, like since the inception of this thing, because I'm pretty sure during this Stone conversation, my roommate and I were listening, now my roommate, he's also my cousin, my best friend, and yeah, he's out in the other room.
Shout out
Jacob Geddes. But yeah, I think we were listening to World Away, and we're like, oh, imagine hearing this at a festival. So like, wow, like full circle dream come true that Casbo was one of our headliners this year. And I am so excited to see where we can take it from here. But overall, like, every artist that performs from top to bottom are some of my favorites, whether they're new favorites or old favorites, and all like very much within that chill vibe kind of thing. So this is a passion project for me, and it's something that I'm going to stand behind forever. And I'm hoping that we can grow it and share it with more people every year.
So quick question. Who do you live with right now? Who's all your roommates? You just you and your cousin, or?
Yep. Just me and my cousin and my dog.
and the dog. Badass, man. Let's get into some more deeper questions. And if you don't want to answer these, you don't have to, but on a total of amount of money that it took to bring all these artists, like, what was the cost for all of these artists?
It was expensive, for sure. And I can't talk about the actual numbers, but it's something that we budgeted for. We said, all right, we want to build this festival first for 2,000 people. What kind of budget do we need to make that happen on the talent side, on the production side, on every granular level? Like, what is this going to cost? And like, we kind of just had like a general idea based on like all the shows I'd done before on what it is we could be expecting. And as things really started falling into place, like, things started to make a little more sense. We increased our talent budget a little bit to make this special set happen or something like that. And and overall, it just kind of like, it worked out really well. By the time tickets went on sale, we knew pretty close to exact what our total expenses would be, so that we could price tickets based on that.
You're smart, man. I mean, you have the experience to back up like this kind of logic, because there's a lot of people who like they try to get these events not knowing, or even not knowing how to anticipate like getting like they have a list of artists first, and then they're like, okay, I hope we can like afford to bring like to pay for these artists, and then they like another serious question, and you don't have to answer this either, but out of this festival, did you gain or lose?
We're still going through the finances of it all, but we sold out and we are hitting our projections so far. So I think I'm hoping we're in a good spot.
On the positive.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
overwhelmingly a positive experience.
oh, amazing.
I don't know the exact numbers yet, but it's looking good.
I mean, I'm fucking happy for you, man. That's fucking amazing. So let's talk more about the experience of like high grounds in general. I mean, I was there, you were there. What was your favorite part about the whole festival in your eyes?
Wow, I'm most sad that it went by so quickly.
Yeah, honestly.
I had a really special moment alone. We had to delay doors a little bit. Never a fun thing to do. People were lining up and they were like, we want to go in. And finally my production team was like, hey, let's do it. And I got on the radio and they said, all comms, let's open these gates and get our people in and have an amazing day. And
what was the reason for, because I didn't get there that early. What was the reason for the delay of the doors?
We just had to make it was most important to us that every single piece of the festival was ready to go in a meaningful way before doors were open, right? So there were things that we needed to take an extra hour, and I would have rather taken that hour than bring people into an experience that wasn't fully ready for them,
Boom, the people wanted to know, now they know.
Yeah.
but you were saying you put in the comms, everything's ready to go,
right? I said on the comms, let's get these gates open, let's send people in, let's do this thing. And then I watched from the front of house booth as tons of people started sprinting towards the stage and they wanted to catch these early sets, and I was like, wow, that's fucking sick.
Yeah,
really cool.
I ended up catching a couple of the snaps on that. I don't know who was there already, but I got some snaps people running in and stuff like that.
Yeah, people were running in and that was really cool to see.
Yeah, I'm really happy you got high ground on Radiate. I don't know if you did it or they do it automatically or whatever, but
yeah, we did it together.
Yeah, I do a lot of stuff with Radiate, so
shout out.
Do a lot of stuff with them and stuff like that, so it's really cool. Whenever I'm able to see the festival that I'm either promoting or going to be a part of that, because there's a lot of festivals I go to and they're not a part of Radium. I'm like, why? This is literally enhancing the community experience.
Totally. And with High Ground specifically, we're such a community driven festival, and the whole community aspect of us all as revelers growing together to create something beautiful is so important to the whole experience. And so using Radiate as a platform where people could connect and meet each other and get excited to be a part of this was amazing.
Yeah, how did you hear about Radiate? You've been using it for a while?
Yeah, I've known about it for a while. I think the first year I used it was probably 2015 for EDC.
Oh shit, you used it before I did.
Back when.
Holy shit. So let's talk about me and the people I was with, and I think it was funny when well, maybe it wasn't that funny, I guess, but when we started that fire in the VIP area.
Oh, that was you. You almost got punched. I'm just kidding.
No, I didn't start the actual fire though. So that was tall homeboy from across from me.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, I understand how if there is a fire pit with a bunch of unburnt logs, someone probably is gonna want. And that's something that now we know.
Yeah. So I came in and I looked at it.
It wouldn't have been a problem if we'd planned on that, right? Had all the systems in place so that something like that was safe and we could have it, but we didn't plan on something like that happening. And so it was the most important thing in that moment to get it out as quickly as possible. And we did. People were understanding, it seems.
Oh yeah 100%.
And that was the end of it.
Yeah, nobody was mad, I don't think. It was just I knew you guys. I knew maybe they were, but I knew you guys were like, just rushing to get this thing out, and we were just like, we were okay with it. We just didn't know, and at the time we were just looking for marshmallows to roast.
Oh yeah, that would be perfect, right, for high ground and the whole like campfire vibe in our artwork. Like, totally get it, and I completely understand, and I'm just glad we could take care of it before it became problematic.
yeah, it was a pretty it was a memorable moment nonetheless. So you had Stephanie work with you, Stephanie Rosa, right?
Yep.
How did you go about getting her? Like, was that something like you realized you like needed help with? Like, because I feel like she took a lot of the marketing aspects of that, right?
Yeah, so she's been our marketing director since we first announced, like back in May. And I guess like going back to what I was saying before, like every show before High Ground, really, I kind of like ran marketing on my own. And I knew that with this experience, I needed to make sure that it was shared with as many people as possible so that we could all celebrate it together.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have the bandwidth to do that on my own, nor did I want to.
Yeah.
And she wanted to be a part of it, and we wanted her to be a part of it. So she took over for our marketing.
Oh yeah, she's definitely she's powerful, man. She knows what she's doing. Yeah, she's got it all on lock for sure. So Casbo's your favorite artist, right?
One of them, for sure.
One of them. What was your like favorite set? I mean, maybe you don't want to say that. That's kind of rude, huh?
Every set that I walked into, I was blown away, and I'm just like so sad that I didn't get to see everybody's set. Mm-hmm. I was trying to bounce around and catch like a few minutes of everybody, but someone would radio me and I'd have to run backstage, and then I'd be like, oh, this person just ended, and, but I saw most sets, and that's really cool. And every time that I got to see somebody, I was like, this is great, this is amazing, this is exactly what I wanted.
I know you were walking around. I saw you walking around saying hi to everybody, and I think as somebody who like created this event, made this happen, I think it was one of the sweetest things I think I've seen people like. It reminded me of Pascal Rotella, right? Obviously, he's a fucking legend. But like, it reminded me like he does the same thing. He walks around and says hi to people, and I'm just like, dude, being at his level and he's still doing that shit, like that's just something to like take into consideration. It's like everything's community based, and you're literally saying hi to the community. That's it just tells us like, oh, you're just like a normal person, like every one of us, right? No matter what you do, what you're creating, even like artists and stuff. Artists are having like meetups and stuff like that. So like, I think you walking around, literally made people's day, and just like, oh shit, like this guy's like saying hi. And
yeah, I mean, our soul is our people, 100%. And I am most curious to know like what people felt about the whole thing and how they're feeling. And I wanted to be out there in the audience, like experiencing it as an attendee, so that I could be like, huh, maybe this would be better if we did this next year, or this or whatever. And part of the special aspect of like walking around the area is getting to talk to people. And it was so cool. I feel like there were a handful of groups that were like, hey, like you're the guy. And I was like, hi, it's me. It was pretty sick.
Yeah, I can't really find anything that I would complain about. I mean, there was a lot of good stuff. I really love that silent disco meditation thing you had going on.
Pretty crazy, right?
That was pretty cool, man.
Yeah. I mean, the Transcendome by Sounddown is something that we kind of like put together in like the few weeks leading up to the event, and it's something that I've wanted to do from the inception of all of this. Was like a space where people could participate in mindfulness and well-being programming throughout the day. And it just so happened that the perfect way to introduce it in a festival environment was through a silent disco style. And it's something that's never really been done before, I don't think. And so we had yoga and Reiki and breathing sessions, and there was a group hypnosis session.
I'd heard about that.
A lot of really cool things going on in there, and it was all done through silent disco headphones. And it seems like the people who went thought it was really cool. And then there's a lot of people who I've heard from who are like, oh my God, I wish I'd known that was there. And so I'm excited because it's something that I think we'd like to keep for next year.
Yeah, maybe make it bigger would be like my...
Yeah, I think it was like a perfect size for this year for people who like wanted to go and explore something. And next year I'd like to make it larger for sure. so more people can experience it.
Yeah, that was a man really badass. So high grounds, is this gonna be a high grounds too?
Think so. I hope so. Like I said, we're like finalizing all of the balance sheets and settlements for the year, make sure that we're all copacetic, and I think we are. And if those thoughts are right, then we will be doing one next year.
Have you thought about doing like 2 days?
We have.
What's the consensus on that?
I want to do it. Damn it, but no.
Yeah, man, fucking do it, bro. I will tell you this, bro. My friend I was telling you about, and he was like, at first he was like sketchy about it. He goes, I don't think I'm like, I don't know, man, but like, yeah, he was like, I wish there was that day too. He was like, dude, this was fucking sick.
Oh my God, me too. And I think like with the amount of art that we had for just this year alone, like I wish I had more time to go explore those aspects of it. And I think a lot of people feel that way, especially like even with the dome, they're like, oh my gosh, I wish I'd taken a moment to go there.
Yeah.
I wish I'm at the second stage, and we want more than anything to do 2 days. That's our plan. That's our goal. I'm hoping that sometime soon we can finalize that and announce it, but can't confirm it quite yet.
But that'd be pretty badass though.
Pretty crazy.
All right, man. We're kind of nearing to the end. We're a little past an hour. Kandi, bro, let me tell you, man, when you're talking with amongst friends, bro.
Yeah.
Time goes by so fucking fast. And actually, no, it's probably all this fucking Truly I keep drinking. Where can people find you, and where can people find your fest? And where can people plug in anything you want to plug in right now? Let people know where they can find you in any platform.
Cool. Is this like hot ones? Look at any camera. And
you got 30 seconds. Go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super reachable. All of my personal socials are Noah S. Levinson. So you can find me on Instagram. I'm like pretty active there. I post a lot of like big like sad boy shit on Facebook where I just like I'm like, I just created this festival. I don't know, like all those things. And then the High Ground socials are all at High Ground Fest. Our website's highgroundfest.com. So all very, very findable. Our website needs to be updated with a see you soon kind of thing, but we'll be uploading photos on the High Ground Instagram mostly. The whole photo bank will probably come to the website as well, and let me tell you, they are amazing. Like our content team absolutely killed it, and I'm really excited to keep sharing all of the magical moments that happened this year, and I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody again next year.
Okay. Oh, one question, because you mentioned this. Are you guys doing a recap video?
We are.
Oh, badass. I can't wait for that.
I can't wait either. I saw some of the footage the other day. Wow. And yeah, that should be coming pretty soon. Our media team, Boulder House Media and Beach House, and then all of our independent content creators are all working on their things, and we'll have them pretty soon.
Hell yeah, man. All right. Well, that was Noah Levinson. This episode will be available on iHeart Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and we got the video version where you get to see all of his events on the side of the wall. So if you don't have YouTube, you better download it now, and you can see his entire wall of all the events that he's actually had on there. Noah, thank you for coming to the podcast. Fucking really awesome having you, man.
Yeah, this has been wonderful, and thank you for the awesome conversation. This has been great.
And for the listeners, thank you for spending an hour with me and Noah. Hope we were entertaining. And until the next one, everyone.